All right. Hello, YouTube. There we are. Hello, YouTube. Hello, guys. All right. TikTok is ready. All right. Get it rolling. And we are set. There we go. All right. Mirror the video. I think we're good. Is that bright enough? I think it's bright enough. Yeah. I don't really want it any brighter. It gets too bright. Too bright for my eyes. All right. Welcome, everybody. Kind of a shitty news day. There's a lot of bad news. I mean, there's good news and bad news, but geez, there's some very troubling news today. So just warning in advance, not happy stuff. Anyway, good evening, all. Hello down in Seattle. Oh, man, I know it is. Well, Flying Medic, the thing is, Flying Medic says they're feeling like we're in a terrible movie. This is not, this is what we expected. It's funny. It's what I expected, but maybe there was a part of me hoping beyond hope that it wasn't going to be this bad. Maybe that's why I'm shocked every time Trump does something new, because a part of me just thought maybe, my optimistic side, I don't know why. I don't think there's any reason to be optimistic. Thank you, Adventures. But there's just some very bad stories today. The one we're going to start with is not start with. The third story is just horrific, absolutely horrific. Anyway, hey, Heather. Hey, Joshua. Oh, man. I know he's over by you guys right now, thank God, and you're giving him quite a welcome. What's the, it's funny because I know these guys. I'm forgetting the name. Paula, etc. The donkeys guys. Who's the, Run by Donkeys? What are they called? I didn't realize they were the ones. They put up they projected it's a British sort of activist group on the left. They've done a lot, led by donkeys. Thank you, Fallon. They've done a number of good. I interviewed one of them on my podcast. Great guy. And they projected with those laser, but actually I'd say this was like the best laser I've ever seen. They projected Jeffrey Epstein pictures on Windsor Castle in London, or I always forget, is Windsor Castle in London or is it nearby? Whatever. But Windsor Castle to basically embarrass Trump when he was there about Epstein. And this was one of the pictures. You can see really good. Here, you can see, just to get closer, you can see the castle. I mean, it's huge. Absolutely huge, this thing. They also apparently projected the Trump birthday gift, the drawing of the woman, the birthday drawing Trump did for Epstein, according to the Wall Street Journal. Very interesting. Now, interestingly, several of the guys got arrested for it. The police also pulled over a truck and confiscated. They had a little van that on the side of it had a big picture. I think the picture was Epstein and Trump. And it got pulled over by the police and confiscated. Now, this is very interesting because, and I think for you guys who aren't Americans, you will appreciate this. And you will also appreciate why this actually will give you insight into the Charlie Kirk story in terms of the outrage of killing someone for speech, but also the outrage of using the killing to then take away speech, which is what Trump is doing. Both outrages in terms of how Americans approach free speech. The idea in America that you would confiscate a truck that had a picture of Trump on the side, even with Epstein, is unimaginable. It's absolutely unimaginable. In Washington, D.C., we have a truck that drives around, a big truck with a huge, not just life size, it's bigger than life size because it's a huge truck, a huge image on the side. We're talking like 15 by 20 feet or something. I mean, what is that? 5 meters by 6 meters, something like that. And it's a baby, it's a fetus that was removed. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to use the words because, again, TikTok might get upset. It's the after. Horrific. It drives around town, and it's a pro-life message. And it drives around town. There's nothing the police can do because it's political speech and it's free speech. That's it. So you can imagine if that's allowed in America, the idea of putting up a picture of a foreign leader that's embarrassing because he's with another guy would be totally legal. It really kind of blows my mind. I mean, I know it's different here than it is in Europe and other countries, but also I will say this, J.D. Vance was obviously BSing you. When he came over and pretended he was lecturing the Europeans about free speech, he obviously doesn't care about free speech. But the kernel of truth that he was saying was our free speech culture and laws in this country are so out there. The law especially is so out there that to an American, it seems like, whoa, that's a little heavy-handed. Your guys' laws sometimes. That's the difference. Now, again, it could also, I mean, Zerpachi says feels more free visiting America. Well, up until now, it could also feel more, oh, thank you for the Galaxy Globe, Carrie. Very nice of you. It also could feel a little out of control, right? But so anyway, like I said, that kind of blew my mind that they arrested them for and it was called, I believe it was called the crime, malicious communication. And I asked ChatGPT, and it was something to the effect of saying or doing something that's harmful to someone else, but is particularly harmful, like kind of outrageously harmful or outrageously offensive. Malicious Communications Act, Fallon says. And, you know, again, in the US, a threat is not free speech. You know, an incitement to violence is not free speech. Something incredibly embarrassing is free speech if it's truth. If it's a lie, then it's defamation. And then you can sue them and everything else. Although I don't know that you can get the cops involved. I doubt you can get the cops involved. Anybody else who's a lawyer who practices, I don't think, in other words, it's a civil kind of thing where you could sue them for putting up a picture that was fake of you with a bad man. But the police, I don't think you could call the police to take down the picture of you and the bad man, telling the police that's not a real picture. Now, in this case, of course, it is the real picture. It was literally this picture. It's Trump and Epstein. That's a real photo, right? Kiki says, no, you can't. That was my thought too. You can't, it's not a criminal thing anyway in this country, even if it's a lie and it's an intentional lie. Really, really kind of interesting. In any case, kudos to our British friends for giving Donald Trump the welcome he deserves. The Federal Reserve lowered interest rates today a 1/4 point. Thank you for the tiny diny. Who's that with the tiny diny? Marsha. Thank you, Marsha. Federal Reserve lowered interest rates by a 1/4 point today. The betting market thinks they're going to lower another 1/2 point by the end of the year. That would be a lot, 3/4 of a point. The big concern, and the Federal Reserve said it again today, the chairman, the big concern they've got is Trump has put us in a situation where we are now looking at a risk of stagflation. Stagflation is when the economy has inflation and unemployment going up at the same time. Why is that a unique category? Well, because you can't fix both at once. And when you try to fix them, you're guaranteed to make one worse. And I've explained this before, but I'll tell you again. Inflation is going up. Trump's tariffs are causing inflation. How do you fight inflation? You raise interest rates. That's how you fight inflation. Okay? Unemployment's going up, and they're very concerned about unemployment because of the economy slowing down, and unemployment going up because of that. How do you fight unemployment going up? You lower interest rates. Well, did you hear what I just said? We've got inflation and unemployment, concerns about unemployment. Inflation, the solution, raise interest rates. Unemployment, the solution, lower interest rates. We've got two different solutions that are opposite of each other. What do? You're screwed, basically. Thank you, Gene, for the meteor shower. Meteor shower, is that an Ask Me Anything? I think it's an Ask Me Anything. It may be an Ask Me Anything. Gene, why don't you give me the Ask Me, and then I want to finish talking about interest rates, and then we'll do the Ask Me. That's one of our gifts on TikTok. TikTok has a new wish function that you're allowed. You can ask later. Okay, just mods, I guess, try to keep an eye on Gene. And Gene, if we miss it, feel free to say, here's my gift question, or I don't know, whatever it is. Thank you, Bowie. So the problem you've got now with Trump is we're worried about inflation. We're worried about unemployment. The solution to each is the opposite. Raise interest rates, lower interest rates. It's worse than that. Inflation's going up. If we raise interest rates, not only does that help get rid of inflation, it will cause more unemployment if we raise interest rates. So things will actually get worse. So not only are you fixing inflation, but you're making unemployment worse. If unemployment's going up and you lower interest rates to help juice the economy, that will help unemployment. Guess what else it will do? It will spike inflation. So not only is the solution opposite for inflation and unemployment, if you do one, it makes the other worse. This is why it's called stagflation, not why, but this is called stagflation. And it was a big problem for the Americans in the 1970s because typically you're stuck. You can't solve both at once. One is going to get worse. So what is the answer? I don't know that there is one, Flower Lady. I mean, are economists out there? Is there anything that's considered an answer? My suspicion is the answer is what the Federal Reserve is doing right now. They're keeping interest rates steady. They're slowly going up a little, slowly going down a little. But you kind of very slowly try to just keep things more or less even. But what you don't do is tariffs. The tariffs, well, KC just said, get rid of the tariffs that are pushing inflation. That would be true. The tariffs are causing inflation. Coffee alone, we said coffee prices, coffee got hit with a 50% tariff. 1/3 of our coffee comes from Brazil. 1/3 of all American coffee comes from Brazil. Brazil coffee got hit with a 50% tariff because Trump is upset that they just put their former president in prison for attempting to overthrow the government. And Trump got mad, so he put a 50% tax on the coffee we buy. 30% of our coffee just got a 50% tax. That's going to make coffee prices go through the roof. So you could get rid of Trump's tariffs, and that would make a big dent in inflation. And then maybe a little less risky to lower interest rates. But it's very difficult. It's a very difficult situation. But Trump isn't helping. He's not helping. So there's a lot of news today. One story I just saw that is really, really horrific. I'm going to read you some of this from CNN. This is incredibly dangerous, what we're facing right now. Barack Obama spoke today, President Obama, said something very similar. He thinks we're at a very dangerous point in America now, post the Charlie Kirk killing, in terms of sentiments around the killing, but also the reaction and Trump using the killing to try to go after Democrats. What the Trump administration did today is just, incredibly dangerous. So what happened was the Trump administration today threatened to take away the broadcast license of one of the major networks in America, TV networks, ABC, Disney. Not only is ABC one of the big names in broadcasting, but they also have ABC News, which is one of our top news networks in America. And the Trump people told ABC today that they need to either punish or fire one of their comedians, or the Trump people are going to try to take away their broadcast license. That's bad enough, okay? That you're Jimmy Kimmel we're talking about for Americans. That's bad enough, right? The idea that the government doesn't like a comedian, so they are threatening to take away the broadcast license of an entire TV network, let alone, this is Disney too, so this could affect cable, this could do lots of stuff. But he literally, I'm going to read the article, he literally told them publicly today, you do something to that comedian or we're coming after your license. Okay? Now, it's worse than that because this is dealing with Charlie Kirk. The comedian didn't even tell a joke about Trump. He talked about the Charlie Kirk killing, and he told the truth. What he said was not just the truth. What he said was actually not very offensive at all. I mean, this is what's particularly interesting is he didn't say anything offensive. I'm going to read you what he said, and you're going to go, yeah, like we've been talking about this all week. It wasn't offensive. By the way, he didn't even talk about Charlie Kirk and his point of view or anything. It wasn't even criticizing Charlie Kirk, okay? It was criticizing Republicans, but what he said was the truth. And they said, you stop it, not even stop it. You punish that comedian or we're taking away your license for saying something about the Charlie Kirk situation that was totally true and totally fair. Let me read you this from CNN. Now, CNN also screwed up a little bit because CNN described what the comedian said and they got it wrong. They made it sound even worse. Listen to this. The Federal Communications Commission's Trump-aligned chairman on Wednesday threatened to take action against Disney and ABC over comedian Jimmy Kimmel's recent comments about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer. During his Monday evening monologue, Kimmel suggested Kirk's alleged killer, Tyler Robinson, might have been a pro-Trump Republican. He didn't say that at all, and he didn't suggest that at all. CNN actually got it wrong. Now, first of all, even suggesting he might have been, big deal. He actually didn't say that. What Kimmel did was, let me read you what Kimmel actually said. When I tell you what he actually said, you're going to go, yeah. Kimmel said, the MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. He says the MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize the alleged shooter as anything other than one of them. Yes. And they're doing everything to score political points from it. Okay. I mean, that's not even criticism of Charlie Kirk himself, because that's what they've been going after up until now. If you criticize Charlie Kirk, right? He's not saying, CNN got it wrong. He didn't suggest the shooter was a Republican at all. He said the opposite. He said Trump and company are trying to blame this on Democrats, is what he said. And that's absolutely true. That's been true for a week now. We've talked about it repeatedly, about the information that's been leaked selectively, about the information that was actually wrong, some of it. All of us have had to deal with this online in terms of the comments of people telling us, of course, he was a Democrat. And we were like, well, there's no information at all. My point here is, this is not only true what the comedian said. He wasn't being funny. He wasn't being sarcastic. He was correct. Thank you, Luis. And he wasn't even offensive. He wasn't offensive at all in what he said. And the head of the Federal Communications Commission, which governs the airways in America, says, and so he goes on. This is the chairman. The ABC late night host remark constituted, quote, the sickest conduct possible, end quote. FCC Chair Brendan Carr told right-wing podcaster Benny Johnson on Wednesday. Carr suggested his FCC could move to revoke ABC affiliate licenses as a way to force Disney to punish Kimmel. I misspoke. He's not just taking away the network's license. He's saying all the local affiliates around the country, which is basically your local news stations. ABC is one of the big 4 local news stations people get in the country. That he's going to take away the local news station entirely all around the country if they don't punish the comedian. Okay? Quote, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, Carr said. These companies can find ways to change conduct and take actions on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. He outright said, you do something to that comedian or we're going to go after your broadcast license. Guys, what really scares me about this is sending and it is intended to send a chilling message across the country to every business, to every news network, to every television network, that not only when talking about Charlie Kirk and the killing, do you have to toe the Trump line, but you cannot say anything that is even vaguely negative about Donald Trump and his people, even if it is true, even if it is fair, even if it is not at all mean. It's not even mean what he said. You can't say anything that they may possibly dislike, or they will come after your livelihood. The government will destroy you and will destroy your company. I just, this is so incredibly dangerous. I mean, what is amazing to me is, they talk about the climate post Charlie Kirk, and they blame Democrats for this climate. And they're creating the very climate they're blaming Democrats for. They're creating a climate of oppression, a climate of fear, a climate of people feeling so scared that they strike out. I mean, this is just, I'm really kind of blown away about. I mean, I really am. This is so dangerous what they're doing, guys. They are trying to manipulate the news. They're not even manipulating. They are trying to get rid of the media entirely and either emasculate them or close them down. It is, I mean, and we got 3.5 more years left of this. Yeah, James Comey is largely, in many ways, to blame. So is Merrick Garland. It's really, I mean, this is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's unprecedented, absolutely unprecedented. This has never happened before in American history. Neither Republicans nor Democrats have done this. It is entirely unprecedented. This has never happened before in our history, and certainly the history of since I've been around and have been aware. Nixon did this a little bit, who was a Republican, scandalous, very good on foreign policy, otherwise very scandalous, had to resign. But this kind of stuff, never, ever. They are threatening to close down entire TV networks if you say anything that Donald Trump doesn't like. They threaten to close ABC down entirely if they don't punish a comedian for making the simple observation that following the killing, a lot of MAGA people were trying to do anything they could to blame Democrats. That is true. And it is not offensive. It's not outrageous. It's true. And he said, as a result, we are going to close you down, ABC, or you're going to punish this comedian, fire him or punish him somehow, but get him to stop. And if you don't, we're going to close you down, the head of the communications agency in Washington said today, who works for Donald Trump, was appointed by Donald Trump's guy. Man. I mean, I will say, and what's amazing to me is, where are the Democrats in Congress? I really do. And I try not to criticize them all the time on this, but on something like this, the last couple of days, what's been happening, we need Democrats to be outraged. We need Democrats to be talking publicly about how dangerous this is. Thank you, Running. Thank you, Lisator. I see. Lisette Rodriguez. Okay, I was like Lisator. Lisette Rodriguez. There we go. Man, so dangerous. They have a lot of power, actually, SJ. Oh, Democrats don't. Democrats don't have power, but you know what? Democrats could start speaking up more. Thank you, Annie. Appreciate the gift, Annie. Which goat do you want? We got both. We got small goat. We got big goat. We could use the goat right now. This is very scary stuff. This is really, really, we probably could use the goat scream right about now. The midterms are going to be hugely important. They're going to try to get their people motivated to vote because of Charlie Kirk. They're already doing fundraisings based on Charlie Kirk. So they're going to try to do that, But, man, I mean, anyway, this is very upsetting to me. So another many things happened today. This has been a day of just bad news. The number 2 guy at the Justice Department, Donald Trump's number 2 at the Justice Department, said on CNN last night that the 4 women who heckled Donald Trump, and Donald Trump went into a restaurant in D.C. today. 4 women were there, and they yelled at him, and they compared him to the German leader in World War II. Again, in America, totally legal, as long as you're just yelling from across the room. If you run at him, then you're in trouble, right? If you threaten him, you're in trouble. Yelling across the room, totally legal. Now, they can remove you, but totally legal. In America, absolutely. Donald Trump's number 2 at the Justice Department accused the women of committing an act of terror and said they want to go after them with the RICO laws, which we've talked about before, are the laws used to go after the mafia. 4 women who simply yelled at Donald Trump. Mind you, he wasn't even sitting at the table. He had just walked in. And from across the room, they started yelling at him and accused him of being this guy from Germany in World War II. That's it. They were Palestinian, pro-Palestinian. It was Palestine, stuff as well. They were pro-Palestinian. But that was it. That was it. Now, I want to read you some of what this guy said today. Okay, this is a little bit of the script with CNN. Deputy Attorney General Blanche. He's the number 2 guy at the Justice Department. RICO, the law that's used to go after mafia, is available to all kinds of organizations committing crimes and committing wrongful acts, So is it sheer happenstance that individuals show up at a restaurant where the president is trying to enjoy dinner and accost him with vile words? The CNN host, who is very good, Caitlin Collins, says they were just shouting basically in his vicinity. Blanche, so you're asking whether there's damage done by 4 individuals screaming and yelling at the president of our United States while he's trying to have dinner? That can't be a serious question. She goes, people can protest the president. He claims damage was done to our president of the United States by having people screaming and yelling at him while he's trying to have dinner. He was not trying to have dinner. He had just walked into the restaurant, was standing there, but it doesn't really matter. But this was damaging to him, and these women need to be thrown in jail because they damaged him. He used the word attack, and he used the word terror as well, that they were committing terror. Again, I talked at the beginning of the show about how in Great Britain, in the UK, the guys got arrested for projecting a picture of Trump and Epstein on the side of the castle. How that's not allowed there. Here, Here, the pro-life people drive around with trucks that have very nasty pictures on the side that I'm not even going to explain again. Horrific pictures after women's procedures, shall we say. Horrific on the side of the truck, and it's totally legal. Totally legal. Okay? You've got to understand to what degree we have free speech rights in this country to appreciate how horrific it is for a government official to say they're going to use anti-mafia laws to come after women who heckled the president of the United States in a restaurant. Anyway, Laura Loomer. We have Laura Luminers. Laura Loomer, who's Donald Trump's BFF. She's the woman who got so close to Trump during the campaign last fall that they were being very touchy-feely, and the media got into the story and Trump got uncomfortable. So Laura suddenly got uninvited from Trump's plane for the last 2 months of the campaign. That's Laura Loomer. Well, since then, Laura Loomer is back. She's at the White House all the time. She got many people fired. Trump got her, she told Trump to fire a ton of top national security people. He fired them all. He listens to her. She is pretty much his, I would say, top advisor, really his closest advisor, for somebody on the outside, certainly. Laura Loomer today said she's had it following the Charlie Kirk story. Now, interestingly, she was Charlie Kirk's, like, one of his biggest enemies and said really horrific things about him. Thank you. That succeed for the legend gift. Very cool. Thank you. Keep the gifts coming, guys. I appreciate it. She had put out a really kind of declaring war on Charlie Kirk tweet that she then kind of is now trying to back away from. But she said today that Trump needs to literally be a dictator, and he needs to lock up and silence his political opponents because they're all violent. Okay? That's what she said today. This is somebody Trump listens to. Thank you, Flower Lady. Appreciate that. Oh, that's the Trump wig? All right. Again, it's funny. We probably need these gifts as little intermezzos because the stories are so bad today. But Trump listens to her, and she's telling him, they're afraid of you being a dictator. She wrote, you need to be a dictator. You need to put them all in jail, in prison, because she claims all Democrats are violent. And this is who Trump is listening to. We're talking about Laura Loomer, correct, JJ? Again, very scary stuff. The Justice Department, Trump's Justice Department this week removed a study from its website. The study had found that the number of far-right attacks continues to outpace all other types of terrorism and domestic violent extremism. It was a 2024 study. It was there until early this week. They took it down. I'm going to read you a paragraph from the study that Donald Trump had taken down this week. Perhaps you will find the conclusions relevant. Let me see. This was the study from the Department of Justice that was taken down by Trump just this week. Thank you, Bowie, for the corgi. Quote, militant, nationalistic, white supremacist, violent extremism has increased in the United States. In fact, the number of far-right attacks continues to outpace all other types of terrorism and domestic violent extremism. Since 1990, far-right extremists have committed far more ideologically motivated homicides than far-left or radical Islamist extremists. including 227 events that took more than 520 lives. In the same period, far left extremists committed 42 attacks that took 78 lives. So the far right was 227, far left 42. Oh, that's a lot. That's 6. 6 is 12, 240. That's about 5. Yeah, that's about 5.5 times more attacks from the right than the left. And the number of deaths was 520 for the extremist right attacks and 78 for the left attacks. That is 7 times 7 is 49, 7 times 8 is 56. That's 7.5. So interestingly, the far right had 5.5 more attacks, 5.5 times more attacks than the far left that were 7.5 times more deadly. This was what I told you last week that I had researched, was the extremist right tends to do more of these attacks by far, and their attacks are far more deadly. That when you look at an equal number of attacks, you have far more people killed by far right extremists. Well, Trump administration removed that report to what did they say? What they 86'd that report today, to use our favorite number. So that was unfortunate. Republicans in Congress are trying to declare October 14th, I believe, a national holiday for Charlie Kirk. It is his birthday in October. They want to declare October 14th Charlie Kirk Day to honor his contributions to America. And one of the Republicans promoting this said that Charlie Kirk was actually akin to the 13th disciple of Jesus. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that out there. Top Trump administration officials are pressuring prosecutors in Virginia to indict New York Attorney General Letitia James for mortgage fraud, despite investigators so far failing to find sufficient evidence to indict her. Letitia James is the prosecutor in New York, or what is she in New York? Is it state's attorney? I forget, what's the actual title again? Attorney General, New York Attorney General, who went after Trump on a number of things. I believe the big thing was Stormy Jackson, right? Stormy Jackson. Oh my God, Stormy Daniels, and Trump wants her in prison. He wants her charged because, again, she's a political enemy. Trump wants her indicted. They didn't have enough evidence to indict her. Trump is putting pressure on the prosecutor to indict her anyway, even though they don't have sufficient evidence to indict her. Again, so dangerous. You know, Trump has claimed, and Republicans have claimed, oh, this is Democrats didn't do this to anybody. I mean, literally, they've been claiming all along. They call it lawfare or something like that. Like, oh, Democrats have used the law to go after their opponents. Literally never happened. The only person who's gotten in trouble with the law has been Donald Trump. You know, it's not like Democrats created the insurrection. Trump did it. It's not like Democrats, you know, hid a bunch of classified documents in Donald Trump's bathroom at Mar-a-Lago, and Trump said, oh my God, who put these here, right? Trump took them. Trump refused to return them. It's not like Democrats created the false elector scheme. That was Trump's people who did it. I mean, you know, yeah. Again, you get it. Let's move on. The Alexei Navalny, a little bit of sort of Russia-Ukraine stuff. Alexei Navalny's widow said today that she has definitive evidence that Putin poisoned him. He was poisoned. She had 2 different DNA samples or whatever from him that she sent abroad, and both samples came back positive for poison. So he was, in fact, poisoned by the Russians. Today is the anniversary of the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, a secret, well, it was a public pact with a secret codicil between the NZs in World War II and the Russians, the Soviets. Part of it was the Russians basically giving the Germans permission to start World War II. The Russians promised that they would basically have a friendship pact with the Germans and told the Germans, you go ahead and invade Europe. Don't worry. We're not going to do anything other than invade Europe ourselves, but we're not going to come after you. Have at it. And the Germans used it basically as a guarantee to begin World War II. Well, there was a secret provision in there in which the Germans and the Russians divided up Eastern Europe, a lot of it at least. Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Poland. And they both agreed to split Poland in half, and they did. They both invaded Poland. And then the Russians killed like 23,000 Polish military officials, executing them in the forest. Really, really horrible stuff. So today's the anniversary of that pact. Yay. President Zelensky confirmed that Ukraine will receive Patriot and HIMARS missiles. Thank you, Bowie, for the butt of the butterflies. Appreciate that. Thank you, Courtney, as well, for the gift. Zelensky confirmed that Ukraine will receive Patriot missiles and HIMARS missiles as part of a U.S. weapons package financed by NATO allies. These are the new weapon systems that Ukraine will get, not as American aid, but the Europeans are buying them, and Trump is allowing Europe to buy them. So, at least that's good. It's happening. That's something. 74% of Ukrainians would accept a peace deal freezing hostilities along the current front lines as long as it was backed by Western security guarantees. 82% of Polish people, reject Trump's claim that the Russian drone incursion was accidental. As you know, Russia pretty much invaded Poland last week with 19 drones. The Poles were very upset, of course, and Trump turned around and excused it and said, maybe it was an accident. And then he was asked about it later, and he said, well, the drones got shot down in Ukraine and they fell into Poland. They fell 150 miles into Poland. Thank you for the mustache, Agnes. I just saw the gift. Appreciate that. So 82% of Poles reject President Trump's claim that the incursion was an accident. He said it could have been a mistake. Yeah. I'm looking here. I'm going to skip the rest of the stories. I think that's enough for now. We had enough. There's only little stuff after that, but we had enough stories. And honestly, this is such a horrible news day. It's just so scary. It's some more little stories, but I think we're okay. We'll skip the little stories. Ooh la 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 la. Very scary stuff going on, guys. So what else, everybody? We have a cloudy day in DC. Very cloudy, although I like it cloudy because it makes it at least nice for my broadcast. But still very scary stuff going on in my country. Ice buying Palantir robots. Oh, I like that gift. Was that Kim? That was Kim. Thank you, Kim. That was a very cool. I love that gift. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Anyway, sorry, I'm responding to an email. Oops, 1 second here. Oh, very scary stuff. Just very scary. Oops, my microphone is tilted. You didn't tell me my microphone was hot. I have to turn the microphone up. Oh, your question. Yeah, Gene, what's the question? Oh, thank you. But thank you, Marcia, for the bunny. I like the bunny because it reminds me of Japanese anime or whatever. Yes, what is your question, Gene? Oh, excuse me. I'm yawning. Finally, literally, I'm like, yeah. Well, no, because I have to turn the mic up when I've got to when I do my videos, and if you guys it's lower. Derek asked an interesting question. I'll tell you why I haven't been talking about it. Derek said, "What about the lynchings in Mississippi?" Well, we don't know that they're lynchings. I've not been talking about this story because there's so far no proof that it's a real story. And I've worked on civil rights issues for 30 years, so I'm very careful about things because I've seen fake stories before. Two guys, a white guy and a black guy, were found, I think, in a town or whatever, hanging from a tree, but different trees, different parts of town. And initially, I say black because I don't even know if he was African American or what. I think he was Caribbean, actually. The police said it was a suicide. The white guy, I don't even remember. People are concerned and think it might not be a suicide, so they've been complaining. Because I happen to have 30 years experience on civil rights issues, and I'm a lawyer and also a journalist who's written for the top publications in the world, I have learned that you don't jump to conclusions because only people who are silly jump to conclusions. We don't yet know what happened because I am not like some people that jump to conclusion on the Charlie Kirk thing, for example, right? Some people on the left and right both were jumping to conclusions. I don't do that because I'm smart. Yeah, we don't know yet what happened, and they're trying to claim that it was a lynching. maybe, but there's no evidence of that. And the police initially concluded it was a suicide. Let's see what happens. But I am not going to get people upset about this story when we have no idea what happened yet. So we'll see. But, you know, we don't know yet. But I've seen, are you kidding? We had a gay rights story of a woman who faked a hate crime in Nebraska years ago. Oh, and you should have seen people. Oh my God. I refused to report on it because I thought the story was fake. And people were so pissed at me. Oh, you're anti-lesbian. You won't report on the hate crime. And I told them, I said, I think the story's fake. What happened a week later? The police got her to confess it was a fake. And I went through a week of, oh my God, the people who knew more than me, who never worked on civil rights issues or journalism in their life. They knew more than me. That's why. I have learned in 30 years, and this is why in the Charlie Kirk story, I was very careful about who this shooter was. And even now, we still don't know his politics. We don't. People were trying to say he's a groyper. Maybe. I don't know about that, right? I'm not convinced he's a total liberal either. Jussie Smollett, another one. Thank you, Sobo. I forgot about him. I forgot about him entirely. Thank you, Bowie, for the Diney. Jussie Smollett, who was the African-American actor who apparently faked a hate crime in Chicago. It happens so that unless you've got a certain threshold of proof, right? And I'm going to stop at this point. But with this story, no one with any knowledge is alleging it's a hate crime. No one with any knowledge is saying that. The police concluded it was just a suicide, and his family is upset, and that's their right. And they've put enough pressure to get more investigations. That's great, but that's all we know. That's all we know. So, but yeah, we don't know yet. So yeah, I'm not gonna be pushing the story until we know more. We've got enough stories we know are bad. I'm not gonna push stuff that we don't know. So, and again, I'm old enough that I've been through this so many times. The Candace Owens stuff is tough. I read on it today, and honestly, it confuses the hell out of me. Candace Owens is off with some conspiracy theory about Charlie Kirk and Israel and all sorts of stuff. And honestly, I couldn't understand it today. I just couldn't understand it. I was going to talk about it because you guys have mentioned it before. And I just went, I have no idea like Israel tried to pressure him or something. And before he got killed or something. And I don't know if she was right. Like it's just, Candace Owens is horrible. I mean, she's not a credible person, you know, she's not a credible person. So I just, you know, it just, hang on here. It's just very scary stuff. All right. Anyway, what else? Oops. Oh my God. They got the show pulled. Trump's people got ABC to freak out and pull the comedian's TV show off the air. Disney and ABC, they just caved to Trump's threats and pulled the TV show off the air. Yeah, CST, that's a fake photo. I don't know where you got it from, but whoever gave it to you, you should never follow them again. The photo on the left is fake. It's AI generated. It's totally a fake photo, literally. Yeah. This is so freaking dangerous, what's happening right now. Jimmy Kimmel Live, which is a comedy show, was canceled. Well, it was pulled indefinitely because Donald Trump's people told ABC, the network, if you don't punish him and take him off the air, we're going to take away your license. And ABC caved and took away the show because Donald Trump's people, and again, this is Charlie Kirk stuff, because Kimmel said that in the wake of the Charlie Kirk tragedy, MAGA people were trying to blame Democrats, he said. And he was right. They were. That's all he said. And Trump's people freaked out and said it was horrific, so they canceled his show. There is no First Amendment anymore. This is absolutely Horrific. Yeah, indefinitely. Absolutely horrific. Again, his crime was saying that MAGA people were trying to blame Democrats for the killing. And he's right. They were. We know they were. We talked about it. People were trying to jump to conclusions. And by the way, some people on the left were jumping to conclusions too. And I said they were jumping to conclusions. That's it. Well, it's off the air indefinitely. Yeah. Now, what happened was one of the big subsidiaries told them they didn't want to carry the show because Trump's administration threatened to cancel all the subsidiaries. So the subsidiary said, we're not carrying the show because Trump's going to come after us. So they killed the show. Jimmy Kimmel is off the air. Trump just got it killed today by threatening to take away ABC's broadcast license. Man, we no longer have a free media in this country. This is absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I mean, this is really, he did it to Colbert, who's another comedian, and now they did it to Kimmel. Man, I would never watch ABC again. Man, I don't watch ABC anyway. I don't watch local TV anyway, as far as that goes. But man, so freaking horrible. Absolutely freaking horrible. I am astounded at how bad this is getting so quickly. I mean, just so incredibly dangerous what's happening, guys. I have to man, so incredibly dangerous. No, I really don't know what people do. They have elevated this to such a dangerous level now, post Charlie Kirk especially. We were already in trouble before Charlie Kirk. After the killing, we were really in trouble because of the tensions that was going to cause on the right. And now the tensions you're going to cause among everybody else by basically taking away freedom of speech in this country in many ways, that's going to cause a very dangerous situation as well. This is just, I'm just blown away at how bad this is. Oh, God. Yeah. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Man. No, I just don't know what to tell you. You know, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I'm sure they'll go up to South Park next. I don't know how South Park is going to survive. You know, I don't know how a lot of these are going to survive. You know, really, I'm just, man. Well, I could see South Park delaying an episode or something. You know what I mean? Things are so out of control right now. I don't have a problem with that necessarily. They could come after everybody. Put pressure on all the social media companies. You know, no longer show Democrats. No longer show anybody critical of Trump. I mean, guys, they canceled Kimmel for saying that MAGA people were trying to blame the Charlie Kirk thing on a Democrat without any from the very beginning. That's true. And it's not that outrageous of a thing. It's not even an outrageous thing to say. It's not even critical of Charlie Kirk himself. Man. What's amazing to me is, and what really scares me as well, is what Trump has shown is how much ability the American president has to do a lot of very bad things that go against our rules, our culture, our typical politics, because everybody else watching in the future now knows the rules don't hold you in, the law doesn't hold you in place. You know, freedom of speech, going after your political enemies, Richard Nixon got into trouble for it. No one's going to get in trouble again for it. Democrats will get into trouble for it, of course. Thank you, Kat. I'm waiting for them to go after a Democratic member of Congress, arrest them. They've tried. But that's going to be next. They're going to go after top Democratic organizations. I think they're going to go after Act Blue. I think they will. They're going to try to take it down. They're going to try to take down top Democratic organizations, I think. Very, very dangerous stuff. Man. I know, Lynn, we just talked about it. Yeah. Oh, dog wants more water. One moment. Get the dog a little bit of water. Oh, man. Honestly, people say, what do? I think the first thing to do is probably to call up Democratic members of Congress and say, what the hell are you doing? It's not your fault, but it is if you don't figure out what the hell to do. We are in a crisis. What are you doing? But to kind of put pressure on them and go, you know what? Been giving you the benefit of the doubt, but now we have a 5-alarm fire and you people are still, they were really good at the hearing with Kash Patel. That was nice. But Trump all week has been signaling this kind of crackdown, this kind of authoritarian crackdown, and he's doing it now. What do Democrats plan on doing? Man. So freaking dangerous. They literally used the government to threaten a TV network to take away their license unless they fired a comedian. So they did. And again, because of this Charlie Kirk business, because he made an accurate observation about Charlie Kirk, and that was it. That was it. Jillian, not being helpful. So, I know, I don't mean to be rude, but people, we've talked about this before. Don't tell me random anonymous person's a troll and you're not going to tell me who it is. That is not helpful. I don't know who the hell you're talking about. Okay, thank you. Did somebody already get them? All right. Yeah, no, I don't mean to be rude, but this is not easy doing this on multiple screens. And people have a thing about always hinting. Oh, we've got it. And they never tell me who. No, sorry, Jillian. That's why I got pissed off, because people always do this. They will always say something and I'm like, who? So thank you. Because I can't always see. I've got comments on 3 different screens. All right. Thank you for that. No, thanks for pointing that out. Ben, thank you, Ben. Canadian. Do you think the midterms will even be able to be a fair election at this point? I know that sounds MAGA. The concern is, again, and I've got to be careful with this because, TikTok and others don't like this. The concern is, look at everything Trump has done at this point, okay? What else is he capable of? Is he going to leave the elections alone? Really? Right? Is he going to leave the elections alone? Really? If I were Trump, I'd feel pretty emboldened right now. People are worried. People are very worried. I've got to be careful because, again, YouTube's pretty good. TikTok, I don't want to hypothesize about what Trump might do with elections, but Trump has made clear that he seems pretty unrestrained right now. He's kind of happy to do what he wants. So who knows what's going to happen with the next election? He can come after anybody. That's the point. That they've already said they want to come after everybody. They want to come after people, and they've been coming after people again. Who simply criticized Charlie Kirk. Which is it's a very weird thing because it's sort of like Rush Limbaugh or somebody else, like characters who, half the country doesn't like them. So if something happens to them and half the country reiterates they don't like that person, that's not news. It's also not mean or anything else, as long as they're not favoring violence. That's a different story, right? Anybody who says violence is okay or violence is good should be absolutely punished. I'm with you on that, right? But simply quoting the guy and saying they don't like his views, hello, this is America. And you didn't know that half the country didn't like Charlie Kirk's views? This is new? And this is like shocking or something in an offensive way? No, right? I mean, you knew that already, and he knew that already, and he was fine with it. Very scary stuff. Very scary stuff. No, they're going to do everything they can now. They're going to do everything they can. Yeah. Very scary stuff. Well, that's it. It's true. I mean, Kirk seemed to really enjoy, Audio Power was saying Charlie Kirk would have valued people criticizing him. He really enjoyed the debate. He loved arguing with people. His point of view, his opinions, but he loved arguing with people. So that this is like the opposite of what you would expect from him. This clamping down, nobody disagrees, nobody disagrees with Charlie. That's like the opposite of what he would do. And again, Democrats should be pointing that out. I mean, this is only going to get worse unless people start standing up. And again, it's got to start with our leaders in Congress who are safe, so to speak. Let Trump come after them. True, Luis. Another friend of mine said that too. He loved to argue with young college students who didn't know much. He didn't like to argue with the older professors. Yeah. Oh man, very scary stuff. Very scary stuff. Oh my God. Well, we're booking Kathy Griffin for next month. She's not free until next month, so we're going to do that. I'm working with Ruben Gallego's people, the senator, to book him soon. I don't mind waiting a little for the Charlie Kirk stuff I am on YouTube as well, John Aravosis DC. I don't mind for the Charlie Kirk stuff to calm down a little bit before we get some of the famous people on, because I don't want Ruben and those guys to have to talk about Charlie Kirk, anyway. Oh my God. Unbelievable. Anyway, this is all very depressing. I mean, because again, what worries me is just where the country's heading. Because again, if you care about this country at all, you do not want to set up an environment where the president can bully private companies. He can bully the news media and shut it down. He can bully private political organizations. He can throw you in prison for your political beliefs, for peaceful protest. If that precedent is established, and if the courts say that's okay, as I said, at some point, no matter what Trump does, at some point, Republicans will lose the election and there will be a Democrat taking over the presidency. I think I don't know how he's going to stop that from happening. I don't think he can. And if Donald Trump goes to court and proves that the president of the United States can shut down the other political organizations, that he can throw people in prison for peaceful protests, that he can shut down news organizations who criticize him, then the next Democratic president is going to do just that to Republicans. And that should be very scary to people. This is what I've been saying all along, is it's the golden rule aspect of politics, which is don't do things to the other party that you think are fun, but cross a line, because at some point you won't be in power. And then the other party is going to do it back to you. Now, Democrats, fair enough. Democrats tend to be a little, as Hillary said, Democrats are often feel they have to be the grown-ups. So Democrats may not do it. But there is a chance they may. I mean, you get somebody who's, I don't know. Gavin Newsom, I think Democrats should, to be honest, at this point. Democrats should say, fine. They ought to be, if I were Democrat members of Congress, I would at least get somebody out there, and I'd start putting it out there and saying, you know what? If you want to set up this precedent, we'll go after you next. And start naming the organizations, start naming the news outlets on the right that they're going to shut down. Start naming the individuals they're going to go after. I mean, if they want to do that, maybe, a Democratic politician does that and says, this is what's going to happen. I don't know. But they've got to figure out something. I mean, we can't wait for an election in a year that we don't even know what's going to happen. More water, really, that we don't even know what's going to happen as a result. A little more. All right. Man. Oh, boy. Man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. I'm telling you. Oh, man. No, my back isn't the problem. My problem is my country's going down the drain. So forgive me if I'm a little prickly, but this is unimaginable what's happening right now. I cannot tell you how worried I am. Again, I'm trying to be very careful with what I say because TikTok, I'm not worried about Trump. I'm worried about TikTok. TikTok gets upset if you get too dramatic. And I am 100 times more worried than what I am telling you about what could happen in this country, the elections, everything else. 100 times more worried about what they could do next and what I think they will do next. So very scary stuff. This is 8 months, guys. 8 months now of this. That's it. 8 months of this. And again, what really worries me, and again, I've got to be really careful because, you can't talk about this stuff publicly. I am a student of history, especially international relations. And we talked about this before. Shining Path guerrillas in Peru, Sendero Luminoso, Marxist, Leninist guerrilla movement, right? Insurgent movement. And vicious, kill people, bombs, all sorts of things. Sendero Luminoso, and this was part of, I'm trying to think, I don't remember if this was the dialectic or what it was called. I'm trying to remember what it was called. But the idea was that you force, actually, Susan Sarandon once said this about Donald Trump. Susan Sarandon once years ago said she wanted, like back the first time around, she wants something to the effect of she wanted Trump to get elected because he would be so bad that he would force America into the great socialist revolution or something like that. And that is what the communists used to believe. They believed that countries would get so oppressive, and frankly, the revolutionaries would make it oppressive. They would do. So what Sendero Luminoso would do, they would do terrorist attacks in Peru. And what they were hoping was they would become such an efficient terrorist organization that the government would have to crack down, and it would have to crack down on civil liberties and freedoms because it was the only way they could find the terrorists. Well, what they hoped was they would force the government to crack down so much, to take away so many civil liberties, to eliminate so many innocent people in the process, that the regular citizens would rise up against the government because they would be so upset about the repression. And the idea is the government becomes so oppressive that it forces a revolution or violence or whatever. And that was always what Sendero Luminoso was about. And I worry about the political climate in this country and where it's heading. Man. And Trump's just making it worse. Very scary. Very scary. Ah, man. I don't know what else to do. Start joining some political organizations. Start giving money. Absolutely. Start giving money to Democratic politicians who are up for election, who look like they've got a chance that matter. Absolutely, positive. I mean, I don't know. What else? I mean, It's very scary. Anyway, guys, all right, I'm going to go, all right, because we're just kind of being sad right now, and I want to do a quick video about Kimmel. I'm not sure what the hell I'm going to say about Kimmel. Yeah, Michelle, we just talked about it, but yeah, they Trump got them to cancel Kimmel by threatening to take away their broadcast license. Just incredible, incredible news. Oh, man. Such scary stuff. Such scary stuff. Yeah. No, I know. This is terrible, though. All right. I'm so upset. I'm going to sign off, guys. All right, Discord. I'm going to say goodnight, guys. I just, and we're almost there anyway, but I have nothing else to say. All right, Discord. I'll see you guys. Thank you. So worried about this stuff. All right. All right. YouTube. Have a good night. All right, TikTok.